Good morning and welcome to Last Call of the Day on the Feather Stop Podcast channel, the #1 channel where first responders go to be informed and entertained 5 days a week. This is the political news show of the week because knowing is half the battle. That's what G.I. Joe says. Joining me today is conservative and political commentator and social media extraordinaire. Also have Jay Kiefer from One More and I'm Out of Here podcast and the Feather Stop Podcast Network sports show. I also have our famous producer, Deadleg Media from Deadleg Media and the Feather Stop Podcast Network. We're going to cover a lot today. We're going to have to move a little bit fast. We have the FBI authorizing to kill Trump. At least that's what headline media puts out there. A little hyperbolic look. Some of my favorite podcast news stories, news podcasters are blowing this up as well. And I think they come by it innocently enough. Maybe they don't understand how search warrant works. I'm going to break it down to you from a law enforcement perspective. And then maybe it's not as hyperbolic as you would think. But again, we're allowing the media to control us. And even some of my favorite people who preach all the time about don't let the media control you are spitting out the same exact nonsense that the media is putting out. Look, I've been guilty of it too. Listen, if you don't know, you don't know. But hey, like, that's what I'm here for. Maybe you guys aren't going to like what I have to say about this, but I'm going to say it anyway. We also have this Michael Cohen coming out on this Stormy Daniels trial, admitting to stealing $60,000 from Trump, like in a full admission of guilt. Like, it's very strange, very bizarre. Not sure what the strategy is there. So we're going to talk about that as a group today. We got the Iranian president dead. Wow. Interesting. And World War III is not starting because of it. So didn't see that one coming. Now, I did call that it would be like some kind of an assassination, my Tanstradamus prediction in that area. But listen, they're getting really good at this stuff. And maybe it was just a helicopter crash in bad weather. We'll talk about it. What else do we have? Boeing had another incident. It's developing. Schwab stepping down from the World Economic Forum. That's strange. Didn't see that one coming either. And then we got this one more quick thing that I got to bring up is, are they setting us up? Are they setting up this debate so that Biden is ousted because they've moved it to June, which gives them just enough time to make him look like an idiot. And then they're like, hey, we're going to put somebody else in because obviously this guy can't go on. Why are they moving debates up to June? Why were they not doing it? We're going to get into all that, all this and more, brought to you by ghostbed.com/. Use the promo code ANT today for conservative Anthony, A-N-T. And then also we have factormeals.com, promo code Wolfpack50 for 50% off. Take it away, Josh. Wow.
The growing calls across the nation to defund the police.
To end policing as we know it.
Off the charts violence in New York City. 11 people shot in just 8 hours on Sunday.
This is about the police officers who every single day put on that uniform and they run towards danger when we run away from it.
Guns up, get him. We got the We Defy Foundation Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Rollathon coming up this Monday. You guys have raised a whopping $1,200, which means I will be rolling in a Hulk Hogan Speedo attire. It's going to be wild. We lost conservative Ant for a minute, but I'm sure he'll be right back.
No, he had to take a phone call. He texted me and let me know, and he'll be right back.
It's political season. And look, this guy, every time I call him, he's either with a Trump family or he's with, dude, what a big deal. He's such a big deal. But anyway, We Defy Foundation. Yeah, he's basically the vice president. $1,200, guys. So I will be rolling for 1 hour with no breaks. I'm really actually nervous about this. I'm an old man, and an hour is a long time to wrestle without stopping. I tried it for 35 minutes on Monday, and let me tell you what, I'm going to have to pace myself even better on Monday because at 35 minutes, I could barely see straight, but I was going pretty hard. I have a strategy for Monday in this Jiu-Jitsu Rollathon. I think I'm just going to play defense, and you're going to go until you choke me, and then the next guy jumps in. I'll defend. But I think it's when I start trying to attack that I burn too much energy. So I'm just going to have to let my pride down, let my ego down, and I'm basically just going to get choked out, every couple of minutes. And I'm starting to hydrate early, but this is going to be great. We Defy Foundation supports wounded and disabled veterans for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu scholarships, not Brazilian wax jobs, not BWJs, but BJJ.
Well, this is awkward. I thought we was going to watch that on Monday. So
I was trying to arrange to be able to get down there to see that in person, and I failed.
Do Brazilian wax jobs, do those include your beehole?
If only we had somebody.
If only there was an internet.
Maybe.
I don't know. I figure that's the hardest thing to shave when I'm manscaping. It's the old beehole. Real hard for me to get rid. Mainly it's because I'm so not gay that even having a razor close to my butthole, it feels gay. And then I don't want to do it anymore. I'm like, man, this feels real gay. I'm going to stop doing it.
The Brazilian goes a step further by offering complete pubic hair removal from the front of the pubic bone to the area underneath called the perineum to the anus.
Oh, I just learned something. The perineum. I always called it the ABC, the
Perineum.
ass ball connector. ABC.
You got to make sure you use the right end of the razor, Eric.
The gooch.
But yeah, if you're shaving your beehole with the stick end of your razor, might be gay. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for all the support from you guys. Every super chat this month is going to the We Defy Foundation. Some of you guys have been dropping mad money. Nightkin dropping mad dollars. Murph 530, tons of money. Will Cray, Mario Lopez dropped $100, which I think Mario Lopez is now a purple belt, if I'm not mistaken. The real Mario Lopez is either a purple belt or a blue belt. I can't remember. The guy from Saved by the Bell. Mm-hmm. He's a jiu-jitsu dude. Mur 530 again. Wow, Mur 530 donated a couple times. Low Ren, Falconator, Teresa Flober. I like how Falconator just drops like $2 every couple of shows just so she stays on my list. I see what you're doing there. Hey, but it adds up, so joke's on you. Or maybe that's what she's doing. Maybe she's playing the long game. You know what I mean? Teresa Flober dropping some dough in there. Anyway, appreciate you guys. This is all going to a good cause, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very adventurous. So those of you who don't know, I will be rolling for 1 hour for every 1 minute for every $20 raise, but you guys are up over like $1,200. So that puts me in an hour, which means that's going to be a very long Memorial Day for me.
Are you going to stream it? Did you figure that out?
Yeah, I'll probably live it on. Yes, I will. I will live stream it. Red's in the chats. A lot of people in this chats today. Tyler S, Falconator, and Folk Around Find Out. Tyler S. Red says, will it be streamed? Elijah Tyler dropping $10 from California. Tyler S, another $10 Monopoly money to Roll Hard Tansey. Thank you. It blows. Let me write it down here so I can keep thanking you. Tyler S, 10 bones. Appreciate it. And
Mario
some wounded veteran
belt since 2012.
What's that?
Mario Lopez has his purple belt, and he has had it since November of 2012 or 2022. I'm sorry,
2022. I was gonna say, dude, he rolls hard, so that would be a shocker if he was still a purple belt. But I get it. Like some gyms will not promote. And I like, you know what? Jiu-jitsu is weird like that. They don't, all gyms are kind of different, but like the big rolling theme here is that they don't promote. So you could be a white belt for years. You know what I mean? It could take you 20 years at some gyms to get your black belt, 15 years to get your black belt, with, pretty consistent rolling. There's a SWAT guy. There's a SWAT dude that I roll with almost daily at my jiu-jitsu gym. And he started jiu-jitsu before me, and we're still going. He's the nicest dude. Doesn't seem to have an ego at all. Loves jiu-jitsu and loves rolling. And they have promoted me faster than him. But not only are they promoted faster, he doesn't even have one stripe on his belt. But he's a SWAT team leader. He's an ex-sniper, and he's pretty much better than me. And so, like, it's weird. But like these coaches, they have a thing, which is like, when this guy learns this one thing, I will promote him. But until then, he's not going to get promoted, and you don't know what that one thing is. So it's really weird. I roll with him a lot. But like, I feel weird because I technically outrank him, but I don't really in real life. And I think that's the point of jiu-jitsu, because like, who cares if you have a blue belt if you can't beat white belts. You know what I'm saying? And who cares if you're a white belt if you can beat blue belts? Like, it's not really about the belt. It's just about the journey and the skill. But so when you said Mario Lopez was a purple belt since 2012, I could see it happening. Unlikely. That's a long time not to learn a lesson. But
and what you're saying is BJJ is like public safety. You'll get promoted if you do this.
True. That's true. I never thought of it that way, because you have some damn good street cops that have been street cops for 12 years. And it is the same way. They're looked at like white belts. They're like, you're just a street cop. You're not a detective. But here's the thing too about that is I never wanted to be a detective for any reason. So I never put in for it. And people would be like, how long have you been a cop? Oh, are you a detective yet? And I'm like, no. And like, why do you think that's some kind of promotion? You know what I mean? You do way more as a street cop than you do as just your general regular detective. Like, a street cop gets into way more shit. Who do you think serves the warrant? You know what I mean? Like, I guess when you go to detective, that's where you go to die and write reports and get fat and dress silly.
Well, not everybody wants to be promoted. They like hitting the street. So I get it.
Yeah.
I see, I see both sides of that.
Yeah. So I don't mind saying, well, I'll stay a white belt forever. I could give a fuck, Klaus. I think actually it would be cooler to be a white belt and have people go, holy shit, how are you just a white belt? Than to just be like a blue belt that's just like does what is expected of him.
Just mediocre.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, of course he beat me. He's a blue belt. But like, I want people to be like, how are you a white belt? Like, you just murdered me. And I'm like, yeah, bitch. You're a white belt for life. I wonder what the rule is if they promote you to blue belt, but you just keep showing up with like 6 stripes on your white belt. So typically the way it goes is you get 4 stripes on a belt and then they'll promote you to a different belt color. So I think it would be funny if you had like, they gave you a blue belt, but then you just show in the next day with like 5 stripes on your white belt instead of the blue belt. Seth Orsborn says, what do you say? Damn, Tansey, first time actually watching, and that mullet really is all you guys make it out to be. Bro, it's trimmed. This is a healthy trimmed mullet. It's not even as wild as it can be.
It's not full locks right now.
So thank you. Locks. Thank you, Seth. Thank you. Okay, well, it was enough stalling. I was trying to stall for Conservative Ant to get back here. But again, he's like right in the middle of political commentary. So I mean, he could be on the news. He could be on with Fox News right now for all I know. And that's the way it's just he's go all day long with this shit. So by the way, Night Shift Top Secret Information brought to you by Red Pill Threads. New podcast episode is out. We have Jessica Sutta from Pussycat Dolls on this Friday. It's all conspiracy theories, all that stuff. So if you're into the conspiracy theory shit, head over to Night Shift TSI podcast. Download the latest 2 episodes brought to you by Red Pill Threads and, of course, Conservative Anthony. Those are some banger good conspiracy episodes. Let's jump in today's big show. First of all, let's just get to it. What's the FBI authorized to shoot at Trump? This is a story that's going crazy. All of my favorite podcast talking heads. I'm not telling you guys I'm better than them, right? I'm not saying I'm better than Tim Pool.
I am. Today we are.
Today we are.
I'm not saying I'm better than Don Bongino. Although Dan Bongino should know. I would like to know his take on this. I didn't listen to. Has he talked about this? Does anybody have? You guys have him on your phone?
I haven't seen anything out yet, but I'm sure it will be.
I've always been on the fence with the Bongino show. I don't know if he's a mole or not. I don't know. He says a lot of things that I like. But sometimes he jumps on the mainstream bandwagon. Sometimes I feel like, now listen, he's wildly successful, way more successful than I am. So I'm not going to hate him on there. I don't know if I trust him. I'd like to trust him. How about that? I'd love to trust him because I do enjoy his show from time to time. I like his political rants. I'd love to know what he has to say about this. That would prove it to me because he knows what I know. So if he's putting out what everybody else is putting out, then he's purposely misleading you. In my opinion, has he put anything out on this?
Not that I can see real fast. Just a quick search.
Okay.
So I kind of agree with the media, but I agree with him for different reasons.
Okay. Well, we're gonna get into it. Let me tell you before we jump into it, because I want to hear your argument here. But I gotta just place it out there for the layman. What they're freaking out about, what the media is going nuts about. Here, I'll just read it. Do you have an article to put up? I've got
No,
New
I
York
could
Post. I'll do it. The New York Post. Well, I said I'll do it, but then how do you do it? Present, share screen here. Let me share the screen. I'll put this up.
There we go.
Well, he's got the New York Post. You
Authorized.
got it up. Let's see here. Okay, so the New York Post says this is what everybody's got their panties in the wad about. Go ahead and read it.
FBI was authorized to use deadly force in classified docs search at Trump's Mar-a-Lago, the court filings reveal. The Department of Justice authorized, quote, the use of deadly force when FBI agents swarmed former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence in August of 2022, looking for classified documents, according to the court filings Tuesday. The agents in the August 8th raid were tasked with seizing classified information in U.S. government records, reads the operations order revealed in evidence as part of Trump's criminal case involving the alleged mishandling of documents in Florida.
All right, let's skip down to I want to skip down to the meat and potatoes of this, which is the FBI followed standard protocol in this search, as we do for all search warrants, which includes a standard policy statement limiting the use of deadly force. The agency said in a statement, no one ordered additional steps to be taken. There was no departure from the norm in this matter. That's what they say. Now, if you listen to the Tim Pool, which you guys know I'm a big Tim Pool fan. My kids skateboard with Tim Pool. We've been to his compound a couple of times. I am forever grateful to Tim Pool and what he has done just in news in general, being an independent journalist. But listen, I don't hang on every word of Tim Pool because there are not a lot of things that Tim Pool says that I don't agree with, but there are things that I would like to debate with him about healthily, as I say things that you guys debate. Now, the difference is that I'm still a Tim Pool fan, and I'll just agree to disagree with him on that take, or I'll just say in my brain, Tim, I think you got it wrong on this one, buddy. And I'll move on. I don't message Tim Pool and his people and say, I'm a cop and you're wrong and that's a stupid take. I have literally in my brain said that's a stupid take. I don't need to go on the internet because, listen, he knows things I don't know. And I know things that he doesn't know. When somebody's talking, us talking heads, we can't know. I know you guys think we know everything, but we don't. I'm a C- student at best. I have to remind you guys all the time. All I can do is give you my fair assessment on this. And the whole point of me doing this is so that you have something to talk about other than dead babies and domestic violence. You need to know what's going on in the world. I'm giving you my take of what's going on in the world. It is up to you to go and do all the research and to be in the know. I just don't want you guys not listening to news at all, period, point blank. Or if you are listening to the news, guys that just don't care what they put out, and they'll just say whatever the mainstream media is putting out. I really do try, folks. I really do try. And you can ask Kiefer, you can ask Deadleg. I really, really, really try to have an objective look on these things as best as I can. And we do that for you.
Well, it's a great concept to be a normal, rational person, to be able to have those conversations and not have to disagree or agree with everything. It's amazing. Yeah. It's an amazing concept, isn't it?
It's crazy. It's almost like it's civil almost. So Tim Pool put out, so when I say Tim Pool put out, he was really upset about the attire that the FBI agents were wearing, polos, and that they're not, they were told to dress undercover and to not have, this and that. And then they were allowed to use deadly force, and they read the search warrant. Here's what everybody's, by the way, Slick Montana, gosh dang it. He's got this mullet emoji as his picture in the live chats. He says, let's fucking go, Tansey. And I know that he says that because he's boned up about the mullet talk right now. I can just tell from one mullet man to another, my mullet spidey senses are going. He says, good morning, wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey, hand off your snakey, which is crazy because I say that all the time to my wife. Wait, no, I don't. Never said that to my wife ever in my life. Yeah, he says my mullet has its own brain. It really does. All right, back on topic. ADHD. But thanks, Slick Montana. I don't act like I don't see you. I didn't want you to think I didn't see you. How about that? Okay, let's get into this search warrant. So what they're upset about is, oh, this could have been a Breonna Taylor incident, which it doesn't apply here. Breonna Taylor does not apply here at all. That was, the whole thing was a lie. We know it was a lie. It was proven in court to be a lie, just like the Michael Brown thing was a lie. And mostly the Kyle Rittenhouse was a lie, right? Still to this day, 30%, 37, I think was the poll. 37% of Americans still think that Kyle Rittenhouse killed a black person. So, what we have here now, if you are in law enforcement and you've done a search warrant, these search warrants are all going to be copy and pasted up to that point, because a search warrant is a very, very detailed and meticulously edited document that is almost annoying to write. A lot of street cops haven't ever written a search warrant. Where I worked, it was almost like I probably wrote a search warrant bi-weekly, if not monthly. I've literally wrote my own search warrant while a hostage negotiator was trying to talk somebody out while I'm sitting in an armored vehicle within, 20 feet of a house that an armed individual is being hostage negotiated. Sorry, my wife just brought me coffee. And so I'm sitting there like even though it's an armored vehicle, I'm still like scared typing. And it's not easy. Typing a search warrant is not easy, because a judge, like a liberal DA, right? Because DAs are elected. A lot of them are liberal, especially where I worked, very liberal. They're going to, if there's something wrong on the search warrant that they can find, they want to tell you about it, because that's where they flex their power, right? Well, I don't know. So you really want to go over and beyond on these search warrants. And that's why I say, when somebody does a search warrant on the wrong address, I almost immediately don't believe that, because that's almost impossible to do. There's just too many. You have to put the color of the door. You have to put the color of the mailbox. You have to put identifying features outside the house. You have to physically drive by the house and point out to a supervisor which house you're hitting. I mean, there's so much goes into it. It would be gross negligence to hit the wrong house on a search warrant. But with that being said, the probable cause portion of a search warrant is going to be written to your probable cause, and you're what we call building a brick wall, brick by brick. So you have to paint this Bob Ross painting for the DA. And what I mean by that is when Bob Ross starts, it's just a blank canvas, right? And then he smudges it. And you're like, oh God, why did he just ruin that canvas? And then all of a sudden he's doing all these things, and then he's creating this grandiose picture for the DA. That's what a search warrant is. You have to start with a smudge and then build from there. You can't just be like, Donald Trump has illegal documents in his basement, the end. No, it's got to be like, these things could be a couple pages long. Like, on October 18th at 5:23 p.m., we were given information by this person. This person used to work for, it's got to spell it out, Big Bird, the Cookie Monster. And then once you've typed all that explanation out, every I has to be dotted, every T has to be crossed. It's like a New York Times bestseller. You've got editors, senior editors, you guys who and by the way, these things have to be done in a timely fashion, because you've got to execute a search warrant. So then there are other parts of the search warrant. No, then on top of that, you have to have 3 green copies. So you have to go find green paper, literally, folks, green paper. And they have to have 3 sheets of green. Now, I might be wrong because I can't really remember what it was. And then 2 copies of yellow, and then 3 copies of pink. So you got to find the pink paper, the yellow paper, the green paper. You got to interchange those out in the printers, which is very annoying. And why is because the 3 pink sheets goes to the clerk of court, the judge, magistrate, and then it goes into your personal record. The 2 yellow copies go, 1 in your record and 1 goes to the suspect or defendant at the scene of the crime. And then that's got to be in an envelope with their name on it. So we have a search warrant, boom, and you hand it to them. Those are your yellow copies. And then the green copies go to like the DA, the judge, and somebody else. I don't remember, but it's very weird. So you got all of these moving parts that go down. Plus you have to have your plan of attack, what you're searching, what the scope of your search is. Are we searching basements? Are we searching cars? Are we searching sheds? All that has to be included on the search warrant. But what if you don't know what he has on the property? What if his property is the size of the Mar-a-Lago property? Well, then the scope has to be, what do they call it when you can only, like if you have a house, then you have a fence, the curtilage. You got to figure out what the actual curtilage is of versus what he owns, right? So if he has 20 acres, but he has 5 acres fenced in and the other 5 is woods, well, that the woods is not part of his curtilage. So that doesn't get included on the search warrant unless you include it. So there's just so much fine details. And these guys are going to write this once, twice, 3, 4 times. And remember, guys didn't get into the FBI because they want to write search warrants. These guys get into the FBI because they want to go hunt the bad guys. They want to kick in doors. So when you get these idiots like myself writing these search warrants, they're going to be a mess. They're going to be wrong all sorts of ways, and they're going to be re-edited and edited. And there's going to be arguments and fights because my supervisor, like Keith here, is going to say, like, I think it should be worded this way. And I'm going to be like, that's stupid. I want to word it this way. And he's going to be like, well, I'm trumping you. And then I'm going to be like, well, fuck you. I'm going to go over your head. And there's going to be like power trips and egos and all these things, right? So across the country, the part of what happens on execution is almost always copied and pasted. Here is your rules of engagement. Your rules of engagement are never going to change on a search warrant. Your rules of engagement are never going to change. If you're going to a church, your rules of engagement are do not fire your weapon until you're fired upon. If you have to use deadly force is authorized in this scenario. I've never read a search warrant where deadly force was not authorized. I can't think of a reason why deadly force would not be authorized in a search warrant. Maybe this case you could argue that deadly force isn't warranted. However, I don't care if you're the president of the United States. If you're shooting at me, I'm shooting back at you. And that's, so what they did was they copy and pasted the use of force paragraph and they put it in the search warrant. They copied and pasted what their attire is, which I bet you for the FBI, the briefing went something like this. Guys, we're going to Mar-a-Lago. We've already talked to the Secret Service there. They know we're coming. We're not trying to make a big deal out of this. Show up in your polo shirts, dress nice with jeans on, have your firearm covered up. We're going to go concealed on this one. They already know we're coming. We've already put it out. We get, but hey, listen, anything can happen. We get on scene, somebody pops out of the bushes, starts shooting at you. Maybe it's one of these MAGA fans, whatever. Use of force still applies. Like, you can use deadly force on this raid. Somebody starts shooting at you, shoot back as long as they're armed, blah, blah, blah. That's why they read it. They're also going to read what the policy is on body armor and how it pertains to insurance. Hey guys, listen, to let you know, on this raid, we're going low key. Wear your vest. If you don't wear your vest, insurance isn't going to cover you. Your life insurance policy, as it is through the department, is not going to cover you if you're not wearing your vest. You don't want to wear your vest? Don't wear your vest. Just know, not going to be covered on insurance today on this raid. Or, hey guys, we have an insurance exemption. You guys don't have to wear your vest today. That's all going to be covered in the briefing. Across the country, for every reason, for every search warrant. So it does not shock me that the search warrant didn't change for the president. Now we can debate it. Go ahead. Floor is open.
When you're writing your search warrants, let's say your pastor is your person of interest. Okay. You want to go to church in the middle of congregation on Sunday with a likelihood of, if there's potential other witnesses, or now you got other hostages, things like that come into consideration. So yes, I agree with you up to like every bit of that. I agree with you. And I'm on board that all the language is going to say the same. And there's going to be language in there because you're looking for paper. Well, where can you put paper? Where can a piece of paper go? A piece of paper
in your
can
butthole.
go all kinds of places. So that's where the scope of that warrant has to say. The verbiage in that warrant is going to say things like any and all places that that the evidence that we're searching for could be located in. So if I'm looking for a stolen car, I don't have the right to search in your freezer.
Right.
You can't put a stolen car in your freezer. So there's some bits about this, but it's not that we're raiding P. Diddy or raiding somebody down the street. This is a former president. And it's not that he has private security. He has Secret Service for the remainder of his life that are also federal agents. If we want to try to limit the collateral damage in this. So the likelihood, because you got to think, or I'd like to hope that at some point there's some senior leadership within the FBI that morning that thought, we're about to go raid the former president who has presidential protection. We might want to give them a call, because if we show up to try to raid, but we're picking up what I'm putting down. So there's there's all of this procedure, yes, and there's verbiage that needs to be in there, yes, and the mainstream media is going to run with it because it is sensational, but at the same time, you're going to go raid the former president. There's some procedures that don't exist because this has never happened before. We've never raided a former president. It's never happened before. Like, these are problems that don't exist because it's never happened before. There's a lot of policy. Like, when you go to your workplace, it doesn't matter whether you're first responder, firefighter, police officer. It doesn't matter whether you're flipping burgers at McDonald's or you're an engineer at SpaceX. There's policies in place because someone screwed up before. A lot of those policies are because someone screwed up and they want to limit the liability going forward. So the reason why OSHA says you have to wear those ridiculously looking glasses or those funny little hats when you're going into those places is because somebody lost an eye and they paid out millions of dollars. And now going forward, everybody has to wear those glasses. Someone got bonked on the head and they can't remember where they are. So now you got to wear this hat everywhere. So they have to put that verbiage in there. You're going to go on this raid because on raids, people do get shot. So you're going to wear body armor. They're going to have weapons. There's going to be bolt cutters. It was one of the things I seen in there, that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's painstaking detail. I mean, it's painstaking detail. Josh will be carrying bolt cutters. Jay will be in charge of handling the radio in the case of a medical emergency. Oh, by the way, in case there is a medical emergency, here is a helicopter landing zone. Here is where EMS trucks will be staged and fire will be notified. Yeah, like, here's the closest hospital. I mean, all of that is covered in not just this search warrant. If you're doing a search warrant for porn, cyber porn, on a computer in a house, and you've already arrested the guy, and there's not supposed to be anybody in this house, but you're executing a search warrant on that house and you have a key, the search warrant will stay the same. Everything that we just mentioned is the same, except it'll be worded like you will use a key to enter the house, a tactical unit or tactical deployment will be used here to clear the house before upon entering the home, before searching. Here is your use of force. It'll be copy and pasted. It's the same use of force for everybody. And then you will recover. And they're going to,
on top of the search warrant, you're going to have your incident action plan that's sitting. That a lot of that shit's copy and pasted over into the search warrant. Just, your procedures, what we're talking about, how we're going to do it, where stuff's going to be staged at. Being the non-law enforcement guy in this trio, I've never read a search warrant, never looked at one. So it's interesting to me to hear how painstaking it is. I mean, I could imagine, but
and a lot of it is just copy and paste. It's just the meat and potatoes is the probable cause part, which is the hardest part to, it's painting that picture. So it, like the staging area, that's copy and pasted, except the address is going to be deleted and changed, right? Like,
so let me ask you this: with a property like Mar-a-Lago, and you're on that FBI squad. And let's say you're writing this and you're part of the investigators. How do you be so specific on what you're going to check? Like, to Josh's point, you're not checking a freezer for a stolen car. I mean, how do you...
You're checking everything.
So it's, can you do like a carte blanche, anything within the walls?
Yeah. I mean, like you're saying, And I mean, if you were going to, on the search warrant, any and all places where a piece of paper could be hidden, and there'll be some verbiage in there like reasonably, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, if it's unreasonable that you could put paper in a in
a concealed wall. So if a wall it's obvious that wall is part of the structure. It's been there. There's been no modifications to it, whatever. It's going to hard for me to justify taking a big old hammer and putting it through that wall. Now, if I come to do that wall, and it looks like it's been repaired within the last week. There's stucco on it. It's got new plaster on it. The paint's fresh on it. There's obviously been some sort of disrepair. Then it's easier for me to say the likelihood that something's behind there, given everything else of the scope of what we're looking for. I think that if I put a hammer through this wall, we can justify that.
Yeah. So what I hate though is like from movies, they always show the cops dumping the cereal on the ground. Like, watch tons of movies. They're always dumping the cereal on the ground. It's funny as that is, if you had something extremely illegal in your house, where would you hide it? Would you hide it in your underwear drawer? where I'm definitely going to dump out your underwear drawer. Like every search warrant ever done in the history of man has dumped out the underwear drawer. Why would you hide your illicit thumb drive, your FBI documents in the underwear drawer? You know we're dumping that shit out. You know we're going through your dresser. You know that. You know I'm going underneath your bed. You know I'm going in your closet. So like that would be the basic places to start hiding. But we know that nobody that's really trying to hide something is hiding things that in those places. You're going to hide them in the ceilings, in the attic. I mean, I have seen it where they're the only way we caught this guy with his stolen prescriptions was because when we went in the attic, we noticed that the insulation in one part of the attic, it looked like a pig had gone in there and rooted around, you know, like, and we were like, you know, as you're shining your light around this attic, and then I felt dumb. I was like, no, this guy didn't come up here and bury his shit in the insulation. Yes, he did. He did. So when cops cut open a cereal box and, you know, I used the, I used the thumb drive, you know, analogy a lot because that was one of the hardest ones I ever did was a child porn case. And we had to search anywhere and everywhere for a thumb drive. Like it's crazy. And you could stuff a thumb drive down in a bag of Rice Krispies. It's pretty difficult to find. Right. So anyway, I don't have any problems with the way the search warrant was written in this case. Do I think it'll be written differently in the future if another president's ever raided? You know, now I like to comment up top, like, what if the people writing it are the criminals? Sure. But even if this was a 100% legit search warrant being written by a 100% legit person who really thought that there was a crime being committed here, you would never think to not copy and paste that. There's too many other things that you're focused on. One, I mean, there's so many things. Is my battery and my flashlight charged? Are my, you know, did I bring a polo shirt? Which polo shirt did I bring? Am I going to wear a vest on this? Have we talked to the Secret Service? Who has the pink paper, the yellow paper, the green paper, blah, 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 blah. I mean, there's so many things that are running through a person's brain that I think the last thing you're thinking of is like, well, hey, the media's going to see this and they're going to be upset, when literally, like going back to your church analogy, I've written a search warrant for a church before. The pastor was defrauding the government somehow. I'm sorry, I didn't write the search warrant. I've just been a part of the search warrant, outer security. But somebody had to write that, and I promise you that all that verbiage was the same. Now, we didn't serve the warrant while the church was in session or anything like that. I think all those things come to close. And they didn't do it with Mar-a-Lago. You got to remember, they gave Trump an opportunity to turn that shit in, and he didn't turn that shit in. Because he felt like he didn't need to and he didn't have to.
I want to caution that they're saying that he was given an opportunity, but they also said that the pictures that came out were legit. And we now know that not only were they leaked pictures, but they were staged leaked pictures.
Yeah.
So here's what in law enforcement and with judiciary processes, this is why the fact that those pictures were staged and then leaked, this is why that entire case has problems. Even if 100% of it is true, you've added doubt. You have doubted, you have poisoned the well, because now I doubt, did you set these pictures up? How much of that was set up? Did you just set the piece of papers on top of it that said classified? Which part of the part where you set a picture up to stage it, what part of the staging of evidence, what part of that? Because once you start staging evidence, then I think
that's kind of hyperbolic though, because if you've been on a search warrant, you know that if I go to a murder scene and I find this knife, this awesome K-bar knife, and I'm like, hey, we taking the knife? And they're like, where did you find it? Right here. Okay, put it back there, point at it, and then they take a picture. Is it a stage photo? Yeah, but like, is it staged for?
Here's yours difference. Yours is a weapon that was where it was at, and I can articulate that in court that I had a rookie cop pick it up. I can follow the evidence from where that rookie cop seen it. I can then put him on the stand, and I can have a chain of custody for the flow of that evidence. So I can answer what you just said. How can the FBI answer why they staged photos that then were leaked? Did they go after the person that leaked these pictures? That's a crime. That's a crime, leaking evidence in an ongoing investigation from the federal government.
What I've always said about that, and not the staging of the photos, because obviously we stage photos all the time, not for malicious intent, but it's like, yo, I found all that dope. Like, get behind it and get a picture. You know what I mean? Or like, hey, where did you find that?
There's a difference between going, hey, I found this over here, and hey, go put this piece of paper on top of that and take a picture of it, because that's what's happened.
Right. Like, it's out of context. Now, let me ask you this. So you're on a search warrant as young Officer Eric Tansey and young Officer Jake Kiefer. We have Corporal Deadleg. And Corporal Deadleg goes, hey, boys, we've got a search warrant. Detective sent us down a search warrant. We're searching Varsity's Bar and Grill for missing podcast equipment. And I'm like, dope, let's go. Tansey, you're on your back half. You're going to be during, Keef's going to make entry. After all that, Tansey, you're going to be searching this side of the house. Keef, you're searching this side of the house. This is where we're searching. This is what we're doing. Blah, 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 blah. We go in there. We do our searching and everything like that. And then you're like, Tansey, come here. Put that right there. Let me get a picture. Yeah, what you got? Yeah, I'm not going to question you on why you want me to fucking put that there and take a picture. Maybe I'm just going to assume that Keef found it there or something like that. You just need it. Boom, you get a picture. You're like, all right, hey, Keef, come here. Hold this box really quick. Face this way. I'm going to get a picture of you holding this box. Why are you getting a picture of me holding this box? I want to show how heavy the box is and that it's a full box and, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever, Corporal, you got it. And do you take those pictures and then you, being the corrupt corporal that you are, go back and you're like, da-da-da-da-da-da. So, or you get those pictures because higher above you said, hey, I need a picture of how heavy those boxes were, and I need a picture of this lanyard where it was at on the paper. You're not going to go, hey, was this lanyard really on the paper? Or are they fucking with me right now? You're going to assume that somebody found that lanyard on that piece of paper, and you're going to go take that picture 9 times out of 10. And it's higher up that's being deceitful. It's not the line guys. It's not like your FBI agent. It's not your cop that's miswriting these search warrants. It's not, the dudes on the ground aren't probably not corrupt. They might even be kind of pro-Trump. We really don't know a lot. All you know is you're a law enforcement officer, some bad shit's happened, and you're being sent to do your job. I hate when Tim Pool uses that expression, like, these cops, they need to stand up. Well, how do you stand up to something you don't know? Like, how would I know that me holding this box was going to be mainstream media news and was going to be part of one of the biggest cover-ups of all time? How was I supposed to know that?
Well, let's go back on the headline that you read and where you found it. And I'm not saying, the source. I'm just saying at the top of a mainstream media blurb. Who do they write those for? They don't write them necessarily for law enforcement or first responders. They write it for the normal person that doesn't know this shit. So when they put FBI, allows deadly force, somebody, because we're breaking this down pragmatically as to how it actually works.
Right.
But the layman person may have the thought of they're going in like Waco,
right?
And just firing away. But guess what? It grabbed them. And then they read the rest of the story. We're actually breaking it down into a logical, this is how this normally would go. But the layman person doesn't know really that.
Hyperbolic. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like, even like my mainstream media friends that I go, not friends, but like the guys that I listen to and things like that. That's why I was wondering if Don Bongino is probably that, because Dan Bongino would know what I know. So if he's putting out that this is crazy, I would want to hear what his argument is, or is he just trying to get those clicks, which he promises he doesn't do? It would be very hard for me to trust him. I would be more disappointed in him than anybody because he knows better. I've always given Dan the benefit of the doubt, although I do doubt him quite often. I don't doubt Dan Bongino. I really don't doubt him. I'm just like, he says so much shit that I really like that I'm like, bro, you used to be a Fed boy. You used to be in the Secret Service. Like, are you part of the PSYOP? Because he does get away with saying a lot of stuff and he's not like shadow banned for it. So somebody's letting him get away with it. I've always just questioned him there. Listen, go follow his podcast. Give him a 5-star rating and review. Please do it. I'm not talking shit. But same with Tim Pool. Tim Pool doesn't know any better. And God, I would love for Tim Pool to hit me up on a couple of these, because I think I would just make sense for him. And then he would be able to still have an argument, but at least it's articulated a little bit better when it comes to law enforcement, because, you know, especially when he's talking about a lot of cops that are on these search warrants, they don't know. Like you really don't know. You're just like, and you don't hear the backstory. You don't know that this guy's a gym owner. You don't know that this guy's got a family. You don't know this guy. You know that there's a search warrant on this thing for some reason, and it's been signed off by a judge. And at that point, it's really not in your responsibility. And if you do, now, I say that to say I read every single search warrant I was ever a part of. And if I didn't agree with it, I would tell somebody what I didn't agree with and then let it be articulated to me and justified to me of why we should be doing it. With that being said, it's always been justified to me. And I'm like, oh, okay, that does make sense. And we should go and do this. So I don't think cops just wake up to be blind followers. Like cops, there's a lot of street cops out there questioning authority all the time. And then here's the other thing. If it's a big search warrant like this, those detectives are not going to come to the cop like me to be like, Tansey, come get in on this. Because they know that I would be questioning the shit out of it. And I would probably be the guy that like shows up with like a Trump 2024 hat on or something crazy. They're going to go to the nerds, to the guys that they know aren't going to question it too.
They're going to go with
that's important. Yeah, they're going to go find the yes men. Yeah.
Because aside from the warrant itself, we were talking about this picture. Here's where here's where I have a problem with what they've done with this picture. I'll argue for the FBI and then I'll argue against it. So let's say the FBI, I'm going to argue for the FBI. The reason
before you start your argument, let me just say, I don't see anything wrong with it yet. Go ahead.
So from the FBI's point of view, we're here. There's supposed to be classified documents. There's a bunch of other people, a bunch of other eyes that potentially will get to see this in the future. We bring these sheets that we're going to put on everything that we believe may be classified, whether or not we're just going to blanket it. We'll figure it out later. We'll write it out. We'll articulate in our report that this is what we did. This is why this is what it was. So then this isn't staged. This is us trying to redact things ahead of time. Now I'm going to fucking destroy that right away, because if you look at the documents, they have already been redacted. They have been edited after the fact. We live in 2024. I can put a penis on your forehead in the middle of this podcast and you could go the entire podcast and you wouldn't know that it's there, because that's how amazing computers are. So we can edit stuff, Photoshop pictures relatively easy. So you're going to have people that have the clearance to be able to be there in the first place. So if they see things that they see, they're able to see them, and they're understand that, hey, this is stuff that other people that don't have the clearance aren't able to see this. So the thought that we're going to protect this stuff, you can redact it anyway. How many papers are redacted? How many times did we get redacted things from the government? Like, it'll go into our next story.
Yeah, but I mean, just because it's redacted, it could be redacted for people who have classified.
But it doesn't. You can't. If you can redact it, if you can redact it after the fact, why are you covering up pictures? You want to preserve.
If it's top secret, they're going to redact those documents so that classified people can see it that don't have top secret. So they could be redacted for the classified guys that don't have top secret, but it's still for classified clearances only. So then we don't have that. So then they would have to redact it even further for us to see it.
So why would we put these? Why did we stage this? Because I'll use the word stage.
Why not? Because we do it all the time. Cops do this all the time. If I find a whole bunch of drugs in a house, I'm going to put it all out on a table. And I'm going to take a picture of all the drugs we found.
There's a difference between, hey, I'm going to put this bag of cocaine next to this also just bag of flour that happens to be on the table. So when you look at these two pictures, see it's two mounds of a white powdery substance, it's going to elicit a response from anybody that's going to see this. So if I want to preserve evidence, I want to preserve this in its most intact state and take the photo. Then if you have to redact things after the fact, you're going to do the case, because you're going to have anybody that wants to argue the conspiracy point. They have given them all the ammo to argue that, because I'm looking at this photo right here, and right here, whatever this is redacted is behind the things that say top secret. So if they've brought the top secret, then now they've moved these documents because there's an order of how these documents are lined up. I can tell you right now that more of this stuff has been moved. So were these documents neatly put together in a file folder, or were these documents just strewn around someone's garage behind their Corvette? There's a difference and finding things in context versus finding things and setting a context or trying to create a narrative and trying to create a story. And we're trying to create a story.
I don't think they're that smart, but I don't think the FBI agents are that smart. I think like maybe the supervisor or like whoever's out to get Trump is maybe that smart. But going back just to the meat and potatoes of this, I could care less about that search warrant saying that you have, the use of force applies. And I bet you more so than anything that use of force was meant for and probably briefed that, hey, what we always talk about, what is the most probable threat and what's the most least likely threat, because that's where your threat's going to come from, the least likely and the most probable. And so your most probable threat, a MAGA freak jumping out of the bushes, dual wielding 240 Bravos and gunning everybody down. And the least likely case is a Secret Service agent that's gone completely pro MAGA and has, somehow drinking the conspiracy juices and he jumps out. So that search warrant's got to cover all of those things, because if you go in there, one of these Secret Service guys assassinates you at the door and then snaps and holds President Trump hostage, but then your rules of engagement are, we are not using force, deadly force at all, and you guys aren't carrying guns at all because the Secret Service is there. What the fuck? That just doesn't exist. Right. All right, we got to move on. I do agree. Like, listen, please don't think that I am trying to defend this warrant. I am not. I think it's a bullshit warrant. I don't think it should have been there in the first place. I don't think we should have been raiding the president, period, point blank. I don't think Project Veritas should have been raided either. I think that's all fucking horse and pony show. But this is definitely just hyperbolic propaganda to make you emotionally upset about the whole situation. I don't think there's anything on those meat and potatoes. I think what's more upsetting is that Michael Cohen, well, I don't know if it's upsetting, but I would like to deep dive into this. Why is Michael Cohen even agreeing to come out with this? Is it a strategy? Did it something that just came up in court? Michael, this is coming from Independent News. Michael Cohen admits to stealing from Trump organization while clawing back at Stormy Daniels. Hush, buddy. This is hilarious. Michael Cohen has admitted to stealing tens of thousands of dollars. By the way, I think it was $60,000 from Donald Trump as part of his reimbursement plan with Donald Trump to recoup $130,000 for paying off Stormy Daniels in 2016. Under cross-examination, Trump's defense attorney on Monday, Mr. Trump's former attorney and one-time fixer, testified that he pocketed $60K from his former boss by overstating the amount he paid a tech company that rigged online polling opinions in Mr. Trump's favor. So there's just tons of corruption going on here. If the Trump lawyers are doing it, you can bet your bottom dollar everybody's doing it. That's why we never go off of polls, folks. I like rarely go after polls because these polls are garbage lies. Like, I don't even believe it when they say like Trump's up 50%. I wouldn't believe it. The reimbursements to Cohen for hush money payment, which Mr. Trump paid out in a monthly $35,000 installments. Somebody just on a small scale, guys, I write checks to a bunch of people every month. The two of you, 6 different people. We have Patreon money that comes in. We have YouTube money that comes in. We have Instagram money come on, AdSense. We have sponsors monies coming in. Some are net 30, some are net 90. Everybody's 1 month behind in their payments anyway because they're net 30 at least. So I have to explain constantly, hey, what am I getting this money for? Oh, well, that was from your January ad read of Ghostbed. We also have other podcasts on the network that have to get paid through these ads. Anti-Hero, Getting a Grip on things, So my wife deals a lot with the money and paying people out. We just had an incident yesterday, not an incident, but we just had somebody yesterday was like, hey, are you guys 3 months behind paying me? Because this spreadsheet that you says looks crazy. However, I think you guys have paid me all the money, but it looks like you guys are behind. And we were both confused. I was like, yeah, how did they get a January payout in March? Like, wouldn't the February payment be for January? But then it was the payout from the factor meals, which was actually net 60, throwing everything off. And I had put in there the notes of where that money came from for my own accountability. So yeah, we paid her in February, but you transferred the funds but the actual factor meals money that was used for came in March. I just paid it from a different account. So it gets,
Paid it out ahead of
oh
time.
my God, it gets so confusing.
Yes.
And I don't know if I'm even doing it right. I never took a class on accounting. So I'm just doing what, if I ever get audited, what I think will look good. Because I can't, I have to pay people. And sometimes I have to pay them out of my personal account and then reimburse myself out of that personal account. So I don't, really know how to do it. None of this shocks me. Think about Trump.
Yeah.
Hotels, resorts, golf clubs, wait staff, server staff, security staff, Ubers, cars,
Landscaping.
fuel, landscaping, fuel, paying
accountants, attorneys. Everything.
He doesn't know where that money's going.
Fuck
period. No. I bet you that motherfucker is like loss prevention is like somewhere up there by Walmart. I bet you he's paying out $200,000 a month in shit that he has no idea.
I completely agree with that. And how much money that he probably had he had a finger on the pulse that is going out. I
just got a $1,300 payback from Amazon for a subscription that Amazon that didn't even exist in Amazon, that Amazon canceled months ago as the company of Amazon, but I had been still paying for the app, even though the app did not exist. And Amazon caught it and sent me a $1,300 check because I'd been paying however many years that this app doesn't. And I guess some lawsuit went through. Dude, I would still be paying for that app
right? Yeah,
today and never fucking known. But we have this Cohen guy who says, "Hey, Trump, I need to pay this guy $50,000." And Trump's like, "All right, well, here's the check for $50,000. Have Susan write it up for you." Susan writes it up for him. He goes over and he goes, "Hey, you want this to fucking go away? I'll give you 20,000 cash right now. Or we can fight it out in litigation." And the guy's like, "I'll take the 20,000 cash." And now he's got 30 extra thousand to pocket because Trump gave him the 50,000 to pay this dude off, and Cohen negotiated it down to $20,000, whatever. And now the dude's pocketing extra money. And it happens every day. And this dude was like, "Yeah, you caught me red-handed." And he really doesn't. If you read the articles and you read his statement, he says, quote, "You stole from the Trump organization." This is what Todd Blanche, the defense attorney, asked. "You stole from the Trump organization?" "Yes, sir." Cohen replied.
"Yes, sir."
"Yes, sir." So this whole Stormy Daniels case is a racket. And here's what I have a problem with this is it wouldn't be a racket if they held every other politician to the same fucking standard. And they don't.
Bingo.
I mean, go to Bezos, go after what's the guy that we define?
Kamala Harris. You could go through, just go down the list. Como, Newsom, the Beetlejuice, from everybody. Every one of them is
Jeb
all
Bush.
Everyone is going to be like this.
All right, we got like 3 more minutes. Oh, keep going.
Yeah, well, because in the debates, Hillary even brought that up. She brought it up that Trump uses like the tax laws and this and that. Like, yeah, your same friends use the same laws. Like Trump says, like, yeah, change the law, make it so I can't do this, but I'm following the same law that your donors and your mega supporters and the people that are throwing millions at you. I'm doing the same thing. So we're all playing by the same rules. It's just,
I also think it's extreme government oversight, the way that they track your money and what you do with your money for the purposes of taxes. Like, I mean, if I want to transfer money from my account to another account because I want to pay Josh, if Josh comes to me and he says, "Dude, I know we don't get paid until the 1st. I'm fucked. Like, I've got this payment due. My wife is struggling." This has never happened, by the way. I am just completely hypothetical in this. "Bro, can you advance me that $1,200 you're going to pay me on it?" I would 100% go, "I'm going to reimburse you." I can't reimburse you from our media company account right now because my accountant will fucking murder me if I do that, because she's going to be like, "Oh,
where did this money go from?"
I'm going to have to pay her $75 to rearrange all that money. So I'm going to pay him from my personal account. I'm not going to write that up on my personal account. I'm going to pay this bitch $1,200. And then when the C- money gets here, I'm going to transfer it over to myself. And I'm still just going to tell my accountant that I paid you the $1,200. No harm, no foul. But if you were ever to get audited, they'd be like, "Well, wait a minute." I don't think they would care. I don't know. But if this was a media thing and they wanted to blow something up, they would be like misuse of funds and da-da-da-da-da. And you're like, bro, calm the fuck down. I pay all my taxes. Like, because I do the paperwork wrong, go fuck yourself. I hate paperwork. I always do it wrong. I always file it the wrong way and do it the wrong. But like, I paid you your money, so who gives a fuck? Like, you just nickel and dime me, you fucking, you know. And I hate it so much. But anyway, real quick, let's jump in. I got 2 more stories in just 2 minutes to go through here. No science behind the 6 foot of Pete social distancing rule. That's all coming out in this big trial right here. This is Winstrup releases former NIH director Francis Collins transcripts highlighting the key takeaways in the new memo. I think they included in here about the mask science, which we all knew. The 6 feet apart thing, that's just arbitrary. Like, we're just going to make shit up. Go ahead and read the highlighted real quick.
He asked, moving to social distancing and various regulations surrounding that, on March 22nd, 2020, the CDC issued guidelines describing social distancing to include remaining out of congregate seating, avoiding mass gatherings, maintaining a distance of approximately 6 feet from others when possible. We asked Dr. Fauci where the 6 feet came from, and he said it's just kind of appeared in the quote. Do you recall science or evidence to the support of the 6 feet distance? Dr. Collins' response? I do not. Is that I do not recall, or did I not see evidence supporting the 6 feet? Dr. Collins, I did not see evidence, but I'm sure I would not have been shown the evidence at that point. Since then, there has been an awfully large topic. Have you seen any evidence since then supporting the 6 feet? No.
Trust the science, guys. Trust the science.
Enjoy not going to when your grandmother, who they stuffed in the nursing home, and they put all those other people in the nursing home, and she died, and you couldn't go to her funeral because the 6 feet.
Trust the science, folks. Just trust it. Trust the science at 6 feet. What if it was 8 feet? What if we would all been saved if they did the science, and science is like, actually, if everybody stays 8 feet away, there's no possible way of transmitting this disease. It dies in.
It would have been gone in 3.5 weeks.
You know what I mean? So like, go fuck yourself with this trust the science bullshit. We don't trust you. I don't trust any of you fucks anymore. Like, you've lost it. I don't trust you. I don't trust you with wars. I'm going to question everything. If that makes me an anti-Semite, if that makes me a genocide supporter, if that makes me racist in some way, I'm going to question it. I don't care what you call me. I'm going to question all of it. Both sides, every side. I'm questioning you because I don't trust you. I don't trust your science. Next article, because we're breezing through these. Schwab stepping down from World Economic Forum. Is this a flex? Is this something weird? What's going on with that? Did we see that coming? I don't think I saw that coming.
And it came out of nowhere. Like, we're in May. Like, what is that? Like, it's just weird, the timing of everything.
An investigation coming up. Let's cover that some more. Maybe we'll do a Patreon, something on that. I'd like to do a little bit more research. I wanted to talk about it and debate it a little bit more. I have some theories. We don't have time today. Iran president dead in a helicopter crash. Man, that is shocking. I know thousands and thousands of people. I've ridden on hundreds of aircraft and helicopter craft. Never once has anybody that I know personally ever crashed on one of these. It's just crazy that it seems like you only crash in an airplane if you're an elite famous person. Right. And like, have we not learned our lesson since Kobe Bryant? We don't fly helicopters in extreme bad weather over mountains. I don't know. Like, it just seems like if you're leader of the Middle Eastern world and everybody's out to get you, and you know, why are we flying around in helicopters? I know they're saying there's no nefarious activity here. Nobody's rioting. They've got like 40 something days for a re-election. It seems like it's just a helicopter crash in bad weather.
The one take that I heard was, you know, the pilot could have been afraid to tell him no because he could have chopped off his head. Like, we're going home.
Bullshit.
I know. I completely agree.
That barbaric of a country. This isn't like Saddam Hussein's regime back in like 1993, which I guarantee you, even Saddam Hussein would have been like, well, if you don't feel safe.
Yeah, it's not safe to fly. We probably should.
Feel safe because it's not like I can say, if you crash this helicopter, I will kill you. It's like, bitch, you know we're all dead anyway. We're not getting on the helicopter.
Here's where I guess conspiracies can start to float in. United States, we have a NOAA weather system, so I can go back historically and see what the weather was from different places, and they have weather balloons and all that stuff is on record. They've already started deleting weather from the Middle East. So immediately within 12 to 24 hours, that data was gone. It's already been scrubbed.
Why is it always gone? Why is the black box always like, oh, well, that's missing in 2 minutes. We have the Epstein case. So, just the cameras went down for that 2 minutes.
Well, here's why. Here's why. Because if we had that evidence, the evidence would support, hey, dumbass pilot, the weather says you probably shouldn't fly. Let's not fly and go get killed. So someone made it. So who made the call? Did the pilot make the call? Did someone higher up? Because this isn't just Kobe Bryant. This is the leader of Iran that not a lot of people like. Some people like. I don't know. Like, this isn't just this is somebody that's going to, like, that death is going to literally
basically a Donald Trump of the Middle East.
Exactly.
Or a Putin of the Middle East. You know what I mean? Like, just a big, like a Biden of the Middle East. I mean, he is a huge political figure, leader of tons of, I mean, even though like 7% of Tehran showed up in their vote to vote, for this guy. So
but it still could potentially change the climate over there with who comes in next.
It really could. It really could. And listen, if you go back to Operation Northwoods, where they were using seashells to kill people and try to get people out of power in Cuba, nothing's off the table. What I think is funny is that all the talking heads are saying things like, now, like this, it really kind of just squashes all conspiracy theories here today because, it's bad weather. And these talk about it in this tone of, it's okay. It's all right. Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Right.
Like, that's their tone. Their tone is literally like, his plane crashed and that's unfortunate. But, I mean, there was the bad weather. We've seen this before with Kobe Bryant. So nobody's rioting and always protesting. And I'm like, just because you say that, it doesn't mean it's fucking true. And all the sheep are like, I mean, like, I've heard, like, even my favorite political commentators are like, yeah, I mean, really right now it's just looking like a helicopter crash. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, guys. Shut the fuck up. Like, no, it doesn't look like that. Guys, listen, I hate to, this show has got a hard end because we have big meetings at the end of this show. So it's one of our only shows that we can't really go over on. That's why Patreon exists. Lots of Patreon content has come out in the last couple of weeks. It's $3, less than a cup of coffee a month. Join our Patreon. It helps us support the show. It helps me write all those checks I was just telling you about. It goes a long way. That $3 goes such a long fucking way. If you want to support independent journalism with a law enforcement twist on it, please go and support this. We got a lot of changes coming this summer, and all of that money is going to all those big changes. I mean, we're talking about a multi-$1,000 just website redo with all these things on there. So all that money comes from you guys. Please donate. And if you don't want to do that, you know what's free? Giving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. If you've made it this far in the show and you don't give me a 5-star rating and review, or just a star rating and review, maybe it's not 5 stars. Maybe you want to give 4 or 3, fine. But like, you're kind of an asshole. Like you just consumed an hour and 8 minutes of free content. The least you could do is just give a rating and review. Let us know how we're doing. Although the 5-star ratings help me up in the algorithm. So give me a 5-star and then write a paragraph on why you hate me, but you still support what we're doing, but you disagree with me. I hate when somebody's like, when he said this, I'm giving you a 1 star because that's just bullshit. Like, bitch, I've done almost 1,000 episodes. I'm going to say stupid shit. I don't know if it warrants. I say like 1,000 good things and you don't give me a 5-star rating review. I say one fucked up thing, you give me a 1 star. You got me. All right, guys, from myself, from Jay Kiefer, sorry that we missed out on Conservative Ant. I don't know where he went, but I'm sure it was important. Deadleg Media, our producer, who's just on top of it with the articles, on top of it, keeping me in the know. He does such a good job. You see how easy this, like when he's sick and his dead leg's acting up, like there's confusion and chaos. And when he's here, there's no confusion and chaos. And that's literally, I just want you to know that you are so important to us here at the Failure Stop Pod. And we never take the work that you do for granted. And I hope that our fans see that. Go and give Deadleg a follow. He runs the Last Call Instagram. Go and give that a follow. Hit up Josh anytime. He's got just a wealth of knowledge in everything, from tech shit to autism to podcasting stuff. He's a jack of all trades. Make sure you guys go and follow the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast, guys, as well. For myself, Jay Kiefer, Deadleg Media. Until next time, guys, guns up. Giddy up.
Giddy up.